Thank you, Pedro and Marco, for arranging such a session and inviting me here to share the experiences. And good morning, everyone, and good evening from Bangladesh. It's 7 p.m. now here, and we are having our Eid vacation here. So Eid Mubarak to everyone. I have graduated from Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology in 2017. And I'm an architect here in Bangladesh practicing. And currently I'm working in the Rohingya refugee context in Teknaf and Ukhia region of Bangladesh. So the influx basically happened on 2017 on August. And like 1 million people came from Myanmar, crossed the Naf River, and came here for shelter as there was a genocide on the other side of the river. So currently, they have temporarily taken their shelters in this hilly region, and a lot of NGOs, a lot of international organizations were working here. So we have had the chance to offer our services to them and getting in touch with the refugees, the solely displaced people, and work on some projects as. So should I start? Pedro, I'll start, right? Start the presentation. Yeah. So,
sorry. How many people from Myanmar?
More than 1 million. Right now, there are more than 1 million people in the camp. So just 1,600 families have been relocated to another place, Bhasanchar, this year, but the rest are still there. And even within intervals, more people are coming, and I think it is increasing. So we don't really see it getting solved very soon, the problem, the issue, as we have studied and we have researched that in different parts of the world, the context, the refugees almost live in a temporary shelter or in temporary place for at least on an average 15 years. So maybe these people will be here like 10 years, maybe, or 12 years, maybe. But in this period of time, you will observe like there is this emergency phase, there is this transitional phase, there is this development phase. So we have had the opportunity to observe some of the phases, and I'll share a video. I'll paste the YouTube link of the video if anyone find it trouble watching on my screen. They can watch it on YouTube. Otherwise, yeah.
rains a lot in Bangladesh, like Brazil, right?
Yeah, it's very heavy. And sometimes it gets really problematic and unimaginable, especially in these hilly areas. And you really cannot predict if it will be vertical or horizontal rain. So uh, the roof and the protection is very necessary in this context, especially. So as you have seen in the video, uh, yeah, you have seen some earthen works and some bamboo works there. So the artworks mainly, those are the registered camp in 1991. There were like 100,000 refugees who fled over in Africa and came here, and they are still here. And there is one designated registered camp for them. And currently, there are now 32 camps in this region, and all these areas have developed within just 2 years to 3 years, and you can see there is a lot of life, and almost all kind of activities go on here. And even as a very simple person, you will find, if you come here, you will see that there are a lot of things to offer to the quality of life, even in this temporary situation. So like when we first came here, we have been started working with BRAC, an organization from Bangladesh. So they invited us to basically document some cyclone shelters in this area, which will be renovated and prepared for these people. And when we started working on these cyclone shelters, those are basically existing shelters, and we had to prepare some drawings. We saw the whole camp, and we saw there are a lot of sectors working here: the shelter sector, and the health sector, the mental health sector, and agriculture. So gender-based violence, protection, community-based protection. So they have been working here, and they have been like constructing something like every week, a shade, or like 100 shelters, or like a clinic or a road. So when we first got the opportunity to be in touch with them, with these organizations, we instantly tried to offer our expertise, and we tried to say maybe we can help developing the designs of these temporary ideas or temporary structures. We instantly started designing some shelters of our own, or designing some structures or some schemes that can be easily applied with these local materials, with these available materials, and very fast. It has to be very fast. Like maybe you will get the scope to you will get like 1 day to design and have supply the drawings. So that was our first concern: how fast can we go? How fast can we do uh, in this context? And this is actually the whole series, the whole experience in here, in this context, is a series of projects from our side. And when we started working with BRAC, after the cyclone shelters, we got the opportunities to design some government official structures as well. So this is an important project. I'm starting with this one because this is the office of the Refugee Relief and Repatriation Commissioner. So when we started working here, they, as we are here, we are available. They offered us, okay, maybe can you design the extension of our office? So we instantly, within 1 week, we designed this structure, this steel structure on the roof, and it was constructed within 6 months. And this project actually helped us having the conversation with the government officials, that within a very short time we can offer something that can, or we call, of good quality, that can offer something better even in this context. So later we started, we got the opportunity to build some other structures as well in the camp. It is a multi-story, human-friendly space, and we got the chance to work with the locals here. Not particularly in the design, where they really couldn't contribute to the design here, but we started having the conversation. This was a project when we started having the conversations with the locals, and we got to see the nightlives in the camp, how it feels there as well. And at the beginning, not everything was very much as we expected. Like we really expected something from the left that could be. There was a very software scheme that could be built by the locals, but there are many issues in this context. Like you have to work with the vendors, you have to work with the politicians, and not always you'll get the materials. And there are these time limits of the organizations. Like within 2 months, you have to construct this project, and it was a lesson for us that how we can proceed in this context. So after this project, we really decided that okay, maybe we need software approaches where we can even have the chance to design during the construction and modify during the construction, maybe with locals with their ideas and with their help. So this is a project we did for the host community. It is near the camp. And this is another safe space for women and girls from UNICEF and BRAC. So this was the first project where we explored with all the available local materials and all the techniques that the locals had. So initially, we also could engage with the locals, just basically what do they know about the area, what are the stories, and what do they think of structures or architecture. Very simple, and they came up with these extraordinary stories with elephants and with the biodiversity nearby, and how the land developed, and what are the rules here, what are the technicalities here, and who can work better. So this conversation instantly gave us many clues. Like we didn't have to brainstorm a lot, and we didn't have to think as designers a lot that we can do this, we can do that. No, but what can be done very simply. We got the ideas from them, and we worked on this structure. It was a very basic initiative from us, and this structure was well accepted by the local women. The space was cozy and comfortable for meetings, for trainings, for learning how to sew, for learning awareness, having awareness sessions. Um, and after that, we got from UNICEF, we got another project, the same program, like the safe space for women and girls. And this was in Teknaf, in the camp. And this camp, this is the camp number 25. So this camp is very adjacent to a host local community. And the pattern, when you go there, if you see behind, let's say, if this is if this is the host community residence, they have a place in the backyard or in the back court, and they allowed the organizations to create these shelters for the refugee communities. So in this area, the locals and the refugee communities, they coexist. So this is a very different camp from the other camps, like you saw in the videos. Those are more like the concentrated refugees, but this camp was very much interlocked, or they marched in one place. So we got a place, and we were given a task to design a structure for women. and who are very conservative in this region. So they really, if you walk in the street, you will probably won't see much elderly women or adolescent girls here in the streets. So privacy is a very prime issue here. So again we chose all the software materials that is available, and that really can be a camouflage in the context. You can often see, like, let's say, I don't know if there is one here, but in this area, you can often see there are shades for betel leaves that somewhat looks like this fence, very brownish and merges with the land. So we picked that scheme, and we decided there won't be much visibility from the outside, but again there will be some sense of empowerment or some sense of pride that can resemble the back heels, and gives the structure a bit of dignity. So we worked with heights, and we designed something like this, novel shaped, and that has a very basic introvert code inside. That will be the place for the women, and the rooms that is surrounding it, that will create the privacy, the psychological privacy as well, and the visual barrier, of course. Now, so in this project, we got the opportunities to be engaged with the local artisans, not local artisans, but refugee artisans. We instantly, especially our engineering team, our technical team, they reached out to door to door, and they collected who wants to work in such a project, and who wants to have a conversation with us. And we got a team, like 10 to 12 people, and initially we started having conversations about these women-friendly spaces. So in the first, they had this idea of these spaces as garments. They call these spaces as garments, where women will just make clothes, and that is not a very dignified perception. Because there are a lot of women-friendly spaces, or safe spaces for women and girls in the camp, and because of this context and because of this culture, these spaces were not very well accepted here. These spaces were somewhat, these spaces actually somewhat created conflicts in some families, like the husbands got violent on their wives because they come to the spaces, this sort of stuff. So our idea was to engage these people, these male members especially, to have the conversation with us. We wanted to understand their perception, and we wanted to share our ideas. What are the ideas of the spaces? If these are any threat to their culture, we wanted to make sure these are not any threat to their culture. So when we had these conversations and we started building this center, it was a very basic layout, and we fixed the heights of the columns. All the rest was crafted by these male members, and we had these conversations with them. Do you know what this space is for? So first they thought it's an office or it's something else, but then we said no, it's a space for the woman. Like, your wife can come here and learn something new, or be aware of the health of your family. So instantly, when the space was crafted, instantly they got interested. They started saying that, okay, I want to work here. But we said no, male people are not allowed here. Even we will not be here when the center is open. So maybe your wife, maybe your mother, maybe your daughter can come here and have the services. So they got interested and said, okay, please accept my family members to come here, and please make sure they can come here. And instantly we got this change of ideas and these visions, that this was the first time we got positive feedbacks about from the male members. And I think that was not the space. We really don't mind if the spaces is a bit small or a bit big, or it doesn't look very good. But the perception of this community here, the conservative community, is very tricky to handle. So that was a success for us, a very little one, but we consider it as a success. And the space was then the crafted, and the adolescent girls came, and they instantly got engaged with the space. Later, we arranged this workshop. We are calling this post-construction introductory workshop, let's say. So that they can have their own perception of space. We told them to draw the layout or draw the space, how they're visualizing it or how they're seeing it. And some drew flowers, and some drew something else, birds, or some drew pot. So these are all the perceptions that didn't help during the design or during the construction, but that will help in the future, of course, because this generation or these young adolescent girls, we believe that they will have their own perception, although they will start thinking that they can think of a space whenever they see that a space that is not of very good quality is being built. They will try to think, they will try to intervene, they will try to organize. So basically, we try to follow these pre-construction conversations, these during construction idea sharing, ethical knowledge sharing, and these post-construction workshops as well. So the design itself is a very limited portion, but the whole process is very important for us.
Rizvi,
Yes.
Can I ask you something? It's
Yes.
an interdisciplinary team that organized this conversation, or you as architect are in charge of this, all of this, or you have another professions work with?
Yes. During the construction, and these workshops particularly that is related to architecture, that is related to space, we were in charge. We decided that we should have these workshops, we should arrange these workshops, and we bought these materials for them. Even we invested some from our own monies as well, but there are a lot of workshop that goes on in these centers about something else, but we try to introduce these workshops as well as that is related to designing environment. They are related to designing maybe architecture. So yeah, we were in charge, but we had this team where engineers worked as well, electrical engineers worked, artisans worked as well. So, but we tried to introduce from our side these workshops. And yeah, as we were saying, that this court is very introvert, but vibrant enough to so that they can feel this freedom, or they can feel that there is a safe space for them. And many things were really crafted by the artisans. We didn't visualize this. We didn't had any idea, little idea, let's say, that this space will be like this. But it came out good when the artisans gave their input. We didn't know what will be the pattern, so we just gave them colors and they painted, and they decided to paint the doors. Okay, we said, okay, go for it. And these columns, they painted these small strips. So these were all organic, and we tried to keep it that way. And even after the women painted as they wanted to, they painted these bamboos. They did whatever they liked, and I think that makes the place more customized and personalized. Of course, we often visited after the center was built, and we tried to share them the knowledges we have as well, like which material is good and which is not. So yeah, during this pandemic, it's being used for making masks and many like initial let's say initial support to any COVID patients. They are here to support. There, then there was another experiment. This was more requested by the organization UNHCR, that they want a prototype. They want to have a prototype of a multi-storied building that can be quickly constructed and that can be dismantled as well. If you need to relocate it, you can do it without wasting resources. So then this one came, and we got to work on materials here. Like we combined very industrial materials and natural materials, and offered this scheme that can have some cultural essence, and but more like an industrial thing that can be put site and dismantled somewhere else if needed. Because in the camp, it is a very common scenario that relocation of the structures is a very common scenario. Like maybe the camp in charge officer will come here and they say, we have to build 20 shelters in this place and you have to move this. So we have to move this. And maybe he will suggest somewhere else and we have to reconstruct it. So a lot of wastage of resources you can observe here. Like they build one structure, they run for 3 months and then it's gone. And there is they don't really salvage anything out of it. So we used very minimum steel for the structure, and not industrial, but MS sheet for corrugated sheet for the surface, and some bamboo partitioning as well. So this came out like this, and later in the following scheme, we got another project request. It is a community center for Hindupara Camp. There is this one camp among the 32 that hosts the minority group of the community, the Hindu community. Most of the Rohingya people are considered Muslim. They follow Islam. But there are very few people, like 1,000 people who were Hindu community, and they're residing in this camp. So the one you are seeing on the right left, on the right down. So this concentrated space is the Hindupara camp, and this place is the host community area. So it is more open, and you can see there is this this fence around this camp. So when we first went to this site, this Hindu community was very insecure because not many organizations work for them. Very specific few organizations work for them, and they were they feel often threatened and insecure about their religion and their temples and everything. So when we first went to build this community center, they thought they were accusing us that we are going to harm their temple. We are going to do something maybe unexpected. But that was on one course, one political or on one another social problem. So we had to have conversations with them, and we showed all the works we did before in other camps, that we're going to do something good for you, and we can build it together. You can paint it, you can suggest it how you want it. So these conversations were vital, and we designed this community center. This community center is owned by a Muslim, Muhammad Saidullah. This place, this area, land. So there was this chicken farm just here where you see the community hall, the plan, and there was this storage where you can see this another structure, male and boys engagement spaces. So this place, this has very important trees, gorgon trees. We consider these trees very important here. And there are these gardens around the place. And so we decided we will not change the footprint at all. We'll just reconstruct or rebuild in the place where there is already a shade. That chicken shed was already abandoned by the owner. It was not in use. So we asked them if we can use that particular space to reconstruct it. So it was easier for us to make the layout. We just put the rooms on this rectangular area, and on the shade, instead of the storage shade, we designed this male and boys engagement space. And it came out something like this. It is, again, it was requested by the donor that let's try to keep it usable. The scheme should be something that we can relocate if we need. Maybe make it modular, maybe make it dismantleable, etc. So we designed all these modular panels with very minimum steel and woolly bamboo that can be grown in the backyard, and we tried to make it more natural than the previous one. So all these window panels and all these solid panels, they are the same. They're the same module, and we just assembled it and designed the whole structure. So the idea was very simple. We'll make a base. The base without any reinforcement. We used CC blocks, segmented CC concrete casting without any iron rod, because if we need to dismantle it, that makes things more complicated or more difficult. So just CC, segmented CC, and we have a skeleton that is built again modular with modular steel, and these modular partitions are assembled against the structure, and this roof was. And we introduced these locally available mattresses to make the insulation to protect them from the heat, and it works fine. So the modules are designed in a way that one single person or two person can handle it very easily, and that came out quite how we expected, and it was very easily assembled. And if we need to relocate it, that is even possible. And the column heights, all the heights were determined in a way that there is zero wastage or a very minimum wastage. Let's say this column height, this MS pipe, this is 6 feet, and from a 20 feet pipe, you can, it's 6.5 feet. So from a 20 feet pipe, you can get three columns. So there is a very limited wastage, and the partitions were designed accordingly. And we try to keep some layers, design some layers that automatically engages the artisans, engages the locals. So there were these semi-outdoor spaces where we decided that we'll work with broken tiles, and we can make a pattern out of it. So at the first, the artisans were very not happy to see the idea that we want to design a pattern. They thought this is an extra work. and they're not very used to it. So we instantly started putting these broken tiles and putting these with our own hands. And they were watching, they were observing, and they were doing other works. But when they observed that we're making an elephant or a pattern, they instantly came and okay, say, I want to draw something. So later they did it by themselves. Like 70% of the design was done by them and 30% was done by us. So, and we haven't really stopped them from doing it however it looks. But observing them doing it was more fun. And then the children and from the local community and host community and the refugee community came along and they painted the whole center. And this is the outcome. Another thing that is important for us during the design, during designing the scheme, is the texture, the pattern they use, the color of the skin, and how they look against this background. If they are really getting along. So when we select the materials, when we select the colors, we try to decide the palette in a way that it belongs to them. It feels like it belongs to them. So in this similar scheme, we did some other structures as well that hasn't been published yet, but this is one community center for the host community. It's another community center. So these schemes are generally it doesn't cost much more than the regular constructions in the camp, and not very much, but it's more long lasting, and it has the it offers the impermanence. It can be dismantled anyway and anytime they need, and nothing will be wasted other than the floor maybe. So and it offers the comfort, it offers the environment that is much needed to have these conversations among the psychologists, among the doctors, and the users, beneficiaries. And this is the owner of the land. We call him Shupari Kaku in Bangla. That means betel nut uncle. So the story was this land is a betel nut garden, and when we designed the layout, in a manner in the first, and when we went to the site again, we saw that many betel nut trees were to be cut because of the layout. So upon his request, we tried to save as much as his garden possible, and we shifted just the trees that were immature and can be shifted, and made it a design element as well. So yeah, in exchange we get gifts like pizzas and cakes, local cakes. So this is another project. This is a okay. Pedro or Marco, just remind me if I'm crossing time.
No, feel free to.
Okay.
No, it's amazing.
So this is another project in the camp, in Camp 4 extension. So this is a male engagement center, and the story behind it was these two guys. They were the artisans who were involved with us in previous projects as well. And as you can see in the three-dimensional visualization, the roof is very simple. Like there are three rooms and double-pitched roofs. We got very limited time, like 2 hours to design something like this, and we couldn't afford to go to the site much often. But these two guys, they were not very happy with our design. They said, okay, this doesn't look dynamic enough, and let us design the roof. We will make it more interesting than yours. We said, okay, go for it, and they designed something like this. So the roof is very interesting, and they designed it themselves, and we didn't have to visit the site, like not at all. This project, we find it like very much of a success, because these two guys were empowered, and these two guys learned how to dominate us. Like they said no to our design, and they did something on their own. So whenever we will not be in this context, maybe these type of people can stand up and guide the community, or they will be having some conversations among them and take the decisions on them by themselves. So that these practices like gave us the raise the question among us, like, so can architecture be a connecting tool? I mean, we have often seen the architecture as the final product, but this is more being happening to us like a connecting tool. And so we say, okay, can we take it further? Currently, and can we have design studios with the local artisans, with the local craftsmen, and that can really empower them, or that can really make them like para architects. So currently we are working with IOM, International Organization for Migration. So it is the UN wing for shelter, UN for habitation of migration, and they are planning. They're trying to do this amazing project for the Rohingya community, the Rohingya Culture Memory Center, we call it. So the idea is to find out the talents, the talented professionals or talented personalities from different camp, to reach out to them and to collect and preserve the cultural memories from them, whichever they have. Maybe they can build them, they can make them, and they can assemble it somewhere, and they can spread to the younger generation. So there are like different singers, there are a lot of painters, there are a lot of artisans and craftsmen who work with wood, bamboo, and they have been engaging with us. They gather with us, and we try to arrange these design studios with them, try to share our thoughts as well, and we organize various things, like how they want to draw, what they want to build, and simultaneously the children can learn from them. So these workshops are, and studios are with various like all the various age groups and various genders, like with male and female, and with elderly as well, so that no one feels left out. uh, and the outcomes are also very interesting. uh, for say let's say this product, this product was an outcome of a one-day studio. We just asked them to think of a partition that no one has ever seen before, but with your techniques, but with your uh, sense of techniques. So that we can use that thing in building the cultural memory center, and that will be designed by you. So two artisans came up with this idea of a partition, like if you open the window, it will become a display table, and it has all the details. Like he did it in 2 days, and we didn't even ask for so much detailed model, but he came up with this. Uh, And these things like amaze us, and we are looking forward to designing a hall. It's not under construction yet, but we are in the process. It will be this construction will soon start, hopefully. This center, we are
it's a beautiful drawing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
We're hoping that this center will offer a space in the camp. It is not really a museum, but it is a space where children from different camps will come and learn from the elderly group, and they will do everything. They will do music, they will do woodworks, they will do karate, they will perform what they know, and they will share with the younger generation who doesn't know how it was in Myanmar. So this space, this project is actually under mental health department from IIM. So and they are trying to work with the psychology and try to do the betterment of the community through these artistic works, through these cultural values and norms and everything. So it's also preserving their culture, which they lost. Everything they had in Myanmar is just completely wiped out. So whatever they have in their memory will be lost with their death as well. So we're trying to collect as much information as possible from the elderly, especially, and designing the space where this can be passed on to the next generation. So this is another master class workshop we arranged. It is part of the construction process. We selected the roofing material, the nipa palm leaves that they used to use in their back in home. And not many artisans know the techniques, but the elderly does. So we reached out to them who knows the techniques most, and we made a panel of master artisans. And they finally, in these workshops, they taught other artisans as well the techniques, how to make these pallets to use in the roof. So this is one of the workshops. So we have been arranging during the pandemic. The pandemic hasn't been very kind to us, but we tried our best, and we are planning to arrange these workshops further. That can actually just make sure that the quality we want through architecture doesn't just remain in one final product. It spreads through the process. So that the people who are engaged, they make sure that the quality is as important as the product. Not just in our center, maybe whenever they work in another project with someone else, they can use these ideas. So so more or less that was the presentation. I will show this last video, and then we can have a discussion session. I'm pasting the YouTube link if anyone wants to watch it on YouTube. খুব সুন্দর কথা বলছেন বন্ধু চাইলে হচ্ছে আশেপাশে সব ঘরের সবাই একসাথে আসলে বন্ধু তো সুন্দর ঘর রং That was it. Thank you.
Amazing work. I don't know if it's the music, but I get emotional here.
Yeah.
It's 50% the music. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the images, it's a hope images, no? Very hope.
I don't know. It's we had in the last class here in this course a presentation about an open city at an experience of an open city in Chile, called Ciudad Abierta. I can send you the link later.
Yes, please.
And it's a super poetic vision of the how can we live together, and it's an amazing experience. But now we can see something more more real, or more I don't know how to specify what I think, but it's amazing how you can see, because this condition of the refugees, it's of course is not a condition of just from Bangladesh, but it's from a lot of we have kind of refugee here in Brazil.
Yeah.
We have refugees, but from Africa or Bolivia, but we have conditions similar of the camps here in the favelas or the slums. And so it's an amazing when you see a work who combine a poetic vision of the world as you do, and with an amazing buildings, super contemporary buildings, and the process looked like amazing too. So thank you very much. It's super inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations for all this, the time and all this I don't know, this create this relationship with all the people. And well, when we see the videos and the photos and the projects, we can see that you really involved with the people, and this is very important, no? Because all these projects need this involvement, all this engagement with the refugees and all this. Congratulations, Rizvi. It's a very beautiful work.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have I don't know if you are looking at the chat, but a lot of people saying it was amazing.
Amazing, awesome, wonderful.
Yeah, and I have one question. It's more a curiosity than a question.
Yes.
How is the relation with Bangladesh and Myanmar? I know it's a neighbor country, but that is the culture is similar or not? Or how it's
Well, right now Myanmar is going through some political issues as well. So all this military coup and everything. So obviously the relationship is not much good, we can say. Uh, uh, but with the Rohingya people, our culture is very much similar, uh, especially from Teknaf area, from Chittagong region. And with the rest of the community from Myanmar, there is very much different from our culture, not at all similar. But these Rohingya people, they have been refugees for a long time. And actually, they didn't have any nationality. They were not part of the country. They were not acknowledged as citizens. So, and they have been traveling, uh, crossing the Naf River a lot of times in the past 50 years. So they came on our side, they again went back, and many of our people went there. So this whole Arakan region and Chittagong region was actually the same, the same region. So these people, they didn't have the boundary previously, and they were mostly fishermen, and they used to come on this side and they again went on the side. So the language is very similar, the culture is very similar, but for them the education has been an issue, as the government hasn't really allowed them to have proper education. There were a lot of restrictions. They needed permissions to have higher studies and everything. So because of that, they have been lagged a bit. Otherwise, the culture, the root culture, is very similar to ours.
Bangladesh is the country that receives more from Myanmar, right?
Bangladesh, sorry.
If the Bangladesh is the country that receives more from people from Myanmar, it's more from the if you compare of the others countries.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. And these camps, I don't know if I will something, but this camp it's of course out self-construction. A lot of we see a lot of self-construction, but
Yes.
the actions, the social actions, is just for the non-governmental institution, or there is some governmental programs or not?
Uh, the whole camp is actually under supervision of the government, and each camp has the camp in charge officers who are government officials.
Okay.
So they actually make sure what goes on in the camp and what is allowed in the camp, what should be the building code and what should be the materials and everything. And it should be impermanent as well. So there is this political issue that you cannot really construct anything permanent here. And mostly everything is run by the non-government organizations. So they construct, they run they construct the shelters, they create the roads, but everything has to be permitted from the government. It has to be accepted by the authority, and then they can work on this. So basically government, they have a team, they have technical teams who observe and who make sure that nothing goes out of the regulations, but they don't really construct the camp. But many other sectors like disaster risk resilient sector and shelter sector, site management, site development sectors, they work together to build the roads, the drainage system, the planning, the community spaces, and the shelters, everything else. So there is a lot of works going on and a lot of people working here, a lot of architects as well. I have met a lot of architects working here on planning, on designing shelters, very simple shelters that probably you will not publish it online, but that creates a lot of impact there. It's not that as an architect or as a technical person you have to work on a community building, but there are a lot of other scopes to offer and to be engaged with these people. And as we said that initially we were not really called to design these buildings. We could have these conversations with these sector members, these NGO officials, and from our personal interest, we tried to offer our expertise and get these projects done.
Amazing. Well, do you have a lot of architects in Bangladesh?
Yeah, we have a lot of architects in Bangladesh, but they work mostly in Dhaka and Chittagong. So very few, like 1, 2, or 3 architects work outside Dhaka with rural communities. But otherwise, they're working in Dhaka or abroad. Yeah, but there are a lot of schools in Dhaka.
Okay, we have Samila. It's going to ask you a question. And just a curiosity, there is a sound of a music in the background of your microphone. It's amazing. What is it?
Mine?
Yeah, isn't? Not now, but was, I don't know, somebody singing a song.
I think it was the Ajahn.
Maybe.
The prayer call. Yeah, it was the prayer call. Yeah,
Right.
from the mosque.
Nice.
Yeah.
Samila.
Yeah.
Vocês me escutam?
Sim.
Okay, so about the safe space for women and girls, I want to know, I don't know if there's something specific, but I want to ask you if there's about the place something that makes a connection with them, or something that makes them feel safe or had a positive feeling. Because I worked with women in vulnerability situation, and there were specific things that the space or the place or the people that makes them feel safe, it makes them feel happy, and were almost always a surprise for me. So I want to know if there's something they liked on the place.
Yeah, that is very interesting. They get engaged. They use the space basically for the toilets, and because the camp lacks a lot of usable toilets, and for women especially, they don't have private toilets, and they don't have places to dry up their clothes. So we specifically try to make the toilet of quality and usable, so that they come here every day, and they can use the toilets as well, and have a good bath and dry their clothes here. So that is at one side of the structure, but that serves. And there, of course, the program that is designed by the non-governmental officials that engages them as well. For say, they offer these women protection, legal protection, and if there is any case going on, like rape, or anyone is victim of any other issues, so they can instantly come here and they can report, and they will get help. And of course, female health, that is an issue. They give them primary basic ideas, awareness sessions as well. And for space-wise, I will say we tried. I don't know. We saw them feeling good in the space, and they like the space, the interior court especially. But we tried to make this interior court offer them freedom, or enjoy the space as they want to. because as we said, the rooms that is oriented alongside or around the interior court, they ensure not just visual privacy, but the psychological privacy, that there is a layer. You are not just adjacent to the road, or there is just not one partition. So not anyone can come and peek and see what you're doing. So that make the space more private. And the colors, of course, we tried to we avoided color in the outside, but we tried to introduce these colors indoor, so that it feels brighter.
Thank you.
Adriana também, né?
Hi. Well, first of all, I want to thank you about your lecture. It was really inspiring. Also, I get very nervous talking in public, and I know I'm alone, but I'm in public right now.
It's so, fine. I think I'm more nervous than you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I also want to ask you a question, talking about the woman and girls space. And you say you, as an architect, you was in charge of the workshops and the dynamic of usage of the space. And I want to know, because I do believe that architecture is a social science, because we do build for people. And I do miss, I think there's a lack of this specifics in architecture schools in Brazil, at least in my school, the school that I went to, because we are always thinking about building or designing for a person and not for people. And I want to know if in Bangladesh is any different in schools, if you have like more focus for people, and if so, do you know why, or can you talk a little more about this, please?
Yeah. So basically in Bangladesh, we are having this huge, massive problem because of migration from villages to cities to towns, and from towns to abroad. So people here, the tendency of people here has become more impermanent. Like they used to care about their space, their environment previously, when they knew that their children will be there to grow. And when their grandparents, when their mother and father are residing there, they knew that their whole life they will be staying there in a village or in their own in their own land. But currently everyone is running after migration. They want to shift from village to town, from town to a big city or to abroad. So nobody really cares about their space much. And even who is coming to the city, the lower income group, they even think of the spaces of the urban places of the slums as a very temporary place. They don't want to make the quality better, make the environment better. So that is an issue. That is an issue. Collectively, it is creating a mess in Bangladesh. And whoever is building something in the village, they're looking at the cities, how they build in the city. They try to hire a labor, and they do it by themselves. And that is being repetitive, and that is not creating any contextual solution or anything better. So holistically, the environment is deteriorating. So so in our school, not in every school, especially not from where I graduated, but there are these couple of schools where they really focus on rural studies. And they, as I said, I mentioned to Pedro and Marco previously that after my graduation, I worked in a contemporary office, and I left that because I didn't like it. And I went to Jinaida where Khandokar Hasibul Kobir, an architect Khandokar Hasibul Kobir, he is my mentor. He is working there with the local community, with the poor income group, and he is doing it just out of personal interest, no profit, no nothing, but because he wants to inspire others, and he wants to make the point that this has to be done. So he's working with the low income group, and he's designing these housings, low income housings, low cost housings for them. And he teaches in Prague University, and especially he is influencing a lot of people, and many are following his path. So it's not the curriculum. It's not the curriculum. It's a more like it is a collective interest or personal interest from different individuals, and they are creating a movement here in our practice.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Rizvi.
Yes.
Yeah, Katja, can you repeat the name of the architect, of your mentor? Can you put in the chat?
Yeah.
Can you write in the chat, please?
Yes. So he's Hasibul Kabir. Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. I have one question, because the refugee team, the refugee question, or the question of the refugees, will become more and more frequent in these coming decades, mainly during the pandemic situation, as well with all these climate change issues that we are living now. How do you see this future? You work with all this in the refugee camps, but it will be a very, very, very strong thing that we have to confront in the future.
Yeah, so definitely I'll try to make use of my experience here, and maybe as I was saying, there are different sectors working in everywhere, maybe in Africa or in Syria or in Greece. So there are these shelter teams, there are these site management teams, site planning teams, who can influence the qualities, and have the conversations with locals or with government, and influence and make sure that the quality is ensured, even if these permanent situations, the quality is ensured. So maybe I'll try to get engaged with these sectors more, and if I see scope to work in some other places, it doesn't have to be one project or one architecture project. It can be anything. Like with my expertise, if it is a management post, I can go there and I can try to offer the way it will make the betterment, or it will make sure that my expertise is in use. So I don't know. We are expecting that we hope it won't increase, but as experts say, that the refugee issue will be more of an issue in the future, and the trend has to be changed. The quality of life has to be ensured, even in these temporary situations. We know that we have seen online that many architects are working currently in these issues, and there are these competitions which are calling for more solutions that can be offered to these refugees. But then again, the context should be properly understood, because these organizations they will find less technical persons in managerial posts, or whoever is leading. So they will not understand the technicalities or the context that we are talking about. We have, when we started working here at the first, all they wanted was to copy paste the solutions that came from Geneva or some other place. So, but that created more problems than giving solutions. So I don't know if I can reach to these places, but I will encourage, or I will ask the younger generation to get involved more in these positions. You don't have to go for projects. You don't have to run after, because we have seen so many architects coming in this context from different universities of the world, and they try to like get a bite of a project, and they try to make a project out of it. But that's not how it works here. Like you won't just come here and try to find a project and design something and go away. But the key is to be here and offer in other sectors as well. You can get skilled for like you can have a master's on environmental science, you can have a master's on disaster management, and you can get engaged with these organizations. And as an architect, you will see the scopes, you will find yourself the scopes. So then you can make use of it with some of the projects.
Perfect, thank you. Anyone have more question? Pedro, as well.
No, get the chance for the.
Here, José Henrique, send us. Rizvi, thanks for the lecture. I also have a question. The projects present are essentially common spaces. Once built, are the spaces managed by an organization or the community itself? The governance of the space.
Yeah. So for now, the spaces are obviously managed by organizations. But again, there are these policies that the organization has to hire a local or has to hire a refugee who is educated and can run the place. So it is still managed by the organizations, but they are making sure that they're creating the right personalities who can run it even after the organizations are out of there.
I have a question. It's because when you start to do this kind of I don't know, it's not the same. It's not the same program and not the same project, but you have some kind of similarity between among the projects. So probably you already have some kind of procedures and elementals or construction elementals that it's going work well. Do you have this organized? It's like or it's just in your head?
Well,
a terrible question, but it's a curiosity.
Yeah.
I just want to know, how do you work in the process?
Okay. My answer will be vague as well, but I think I found discipline when I started working here. Like in the office, they are very disciplined and they maintain the time, and you will have people to have conversations around. So for me, I used to be a late night fighter and in the advertising university, but it helped when I started working early, and I could manage. I could have conversations with the people. I could be present there, and it really helped. It really helped during the pandemic, as I was saying. How is it going during the pandemic? it is again, the discipline is not there. But when I used to work with Bragg, I could get up early, and I could go talk to the engineers, the team, and just be there designing my thing and showing them, and that helped. That just helped, and that made me decide in very short time, because we often get lost during design, like this can be this can be that. So we often waste a lot of time and energy just thinking a lot more. So for me, the environment was pretty good here to work with people, and I was fortunate enough to have the right people around to talk to, and they would understand the conversations, and they would give their feedback and everything. I have another architect, Saad bin Mustafa. He has been working with me as well. He had his separate projects, but we used to share everything, and we used to share these ideas with each other to make sure, okay, we are not, as a single person, we are not doing any mistake. And I think the limitation of resource here and the limitation of time helped me as well. I really didn't allow myself to think a lot or to get stuck there. I just had to make sure that within the limitations of time and of materials, I had to come up with something that will please me as well, and please the community. So yeah, that helped.
But we have two more questions. But when you get the experience to building this, to design and building these things, these places, you told us you with help of community design some kind of architectural components, which is different. So you already have this experience. So maybe you have your a mental catalog of new elements that you are designing, right? Which is something is going right, something is going well or not.
Yes.
Like
I think
this window, which
I'll say okay. I can sum that up in a very short note. Like I try to ask every question if it is right or wrong, if it is good or if it is not working. As simple as that. Whenever I decide the material, whenever I decide the scheme, whenever I decide the color, the space, is it right or is it wrong? Is it harming anyone? If it is not harming anyone, it can be not very beautiful, but if it is not harming anyone, we can use that. And if it is not harming anyone, but if it is harming anyone, we will try to avoid that, or we'll try to think of alternatives. So I try to yes, so that is a simple equation I have in my head, and I try to do research or to study about the materials, or try to think what is the impact, social impact or environmental impact as well. Let's say if you want to use a tile, is it replicable? Is it sustainable? Maybe this tile looks very good, but if I'm not there, if any artisan wants to build this, or any local person wants to build this, will he able to get that tile in a low cost budget or that sort of thing? Because I'll share a funny story. Like in Bangladesh, you will often see plastered buildings that is rendered like RCC, with holes, but these are plastered buildings. So so the exposed concrete that is very aesthetically pleasing, but that is not spreadable to everyone. Not everyone can afford that, but everyone wants that aesthetic, right? So what they do is they fake it, and they are creating a mess, literally. So they're going for a fake aesthetic. So honesty of aesthetics is another important thing that I try to select those components or those aesthetic materials that is true to its nature and that is spreadable, that people can replicate, easily replicate. They don't have to fake for it. Yeah, that's that's more
Amazing.
how I think.
Adriana?
Hi, me again.
Yeah.
So we did started this lecture with Pedro talking about your age, and this question is actually more about being an architect and not about the design itself. But well, you are very young, and I remember the time you were talking about those guys who didn't like your roof design and they changed it. Do you think that there's something to do about with your age or with your title, or if people do respect your design or don't? And just now you were talking about you're always asking people, because you work with a lot of people, so you are always asking them if this is harmful, this is hurting anyone, if you like this, if this work for you, for this this environment. And so do you think this helps people respect you as an architect, or do you think sometimes it just doesn't even matter, you know, like the story of the roof? And
Yeah.
can you think about something, why, if this is something that people disrespect you because you're so young, or it's just something they have with themselves? I don't know.
Okay, first of all, I don't expose my age during.
Sorry.
Okay, that's a good idea.
and I don't force all my ideas to them. Maybe sometimes I have to be sneaky. Sometimes I have to look for scopes when I can. It will be appropriate to give them a knowledgeable quote, and not always they will be interested to listen to you, or they will be tired listening to you, like talking like an art. So it's more like whoever our team who is working here, we try to be tricky or sneaky in these cases. Like if anyone is trying to bring some plastic plants in the center, we try to make them get scared of something, like the UN won't like the plastic things, it's not a good thing, or something like that. So it's not always very rigid. I think whoever tries to be a very rigid person here and tries to force their very refined thoughts, it will not with the general public. They are more like they are in chill, they're funky, they try to joke around. So the key is to be like them. The key is to be a general person, not a very we don't really try to be very wise persons or try to be a very good influencer, but we are there. If they are asking for a solution, we offer them our solution. If they're not, it's fine.
Thank you.
Samila.
It's me again. What do you see as the lead or important element of a common space project? You said about the conversation with the community, but is there anything else?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't.
Me too.
If you think there is a lead or an important element of a project about a company, because it's the space, the project.
Samila, o seu áudio está cortando. A gente não está conseguindo entender direito.
Vou colocar no chat.
Okay. She will put in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, what do you see as the lead or an important element of a common space project? we try to start thinking with the materials, and then the space quality, of course, like how is it opening up to the community people, or is it instead of creating a very welcoming space or very connected space, it is creating something like a corner that won't allow a lot of people to be engaged with. So spatially and in a materialistic way, we try to think of these qualities, how the space is connecting them, and of course, as I'm saying, we try to organize these 3 type of engagement sessions. That is before the construction, when we don't have any idea how the space will be, with the people who is around, and then during the construction, that is more like very casual ethical sharing, what is the space is about and what do they think the space should be about. And after the construction, who will be the users? They will get introduced to the space and have their own perceptions of the space. So actually, there are a lot of things. I cannot select just one thing as a lead, but we start with the landscape and the site. And the landscape means everything: the people, the trees, whatever there is, and how the whole structure will grow in the space, will connect with the surrounding. It's not the same with every project, but there are a lot of scopes in different projects, the different scopes, different types of challenges. So you go there and you try to see the surrounding, and you try to again ask yourself what is right and what is wrong. Is this right? Is this wrong? This is wrong. Then we don't do it. Is this right? We do it. That's how we approach.
Kind of simple, but super difficult.
Yeah, I have another question as well. At least here in Brazil, Rizvi, we didn't graduate with the vision of time that you showed us today. The question of time is different in the context that you showed in all the projects. And you talk about the time in the construction, in the development of the project, and in theory, the context of the refugee camp is to be temporary, but is not. It gets solid in the time. So the relation of the time is very different for you. I don't know. I want to know what's your reflection about that, about the time, this time question.
Let's say the emergency situation is over in the camp, and when we started in the first projects, we had to do it very quickly. And right now we are working in a project that can be the process can be more elaborated, and we are engaging with more people, and so the design and construction can be delayed a bit more. That is not a problem, but we have this time to be connected to the people and the artisans more, and organize these studios, these design workshops and everything. So so I like to think that if I waste time, whatever expertise I have, I'm not offering much to the world. I try to make use of the time. I like to make use of the time. Like if the construction will be delayed, if the design can be done later, what can I do during the time? Maybe I can do some research. Maybe I can talk to the community members. Maybe I can just roam around and pick all the components that can be composed later in my design. So it's not necessarily that the project has to be done like in 2 months. That is not necessary. But if I am efficiently using my time or not, that is more important to me. So maybe a three-year project can be as efficient as a 2 months project. If you can design the process, the previous process well, and if you really invest your time and wisely and sensitively. So I think that's how we should make use of our time.
So anyone, mais alguém? Gostaria de fazer alguma pergunta? Raíssa.
Stephanie.
A Stephanie também.
And the last one, or there are more questions?
No, there is 2 questions here.
Yeah.
One from Raíssa and one from Stephanie. The first one is how do you deal with the water and energy infrastructure? This word is super difficult for me.
Achha.
And sewage treatment in the project.
Okay, so for that, there is this specific WASH sectors who manage all this drainage, water, sanitation, and everything. So they're expert engineers, and they have been working in different contexts, and they're doing a pretty good job in these hilly areas as well. There has been a lot of experiments in different camps, and after the first 2 years, the government decided, okay, this is working better, so we can do this, and this is more environmentally hampering, and we should avoid that. So there are a lot of experiments and expertises here. We often rely on them. We try not to do everything by ourselves, but rely on them and learn from them as well. But in rural areas, I think it will be, other rural areas, it won't be the same. There will not be a lot of expertise, but maybe if you try to reach out to the authorities who are handling these situations, they will have resource persons, and you can talk to them, and you will get the idea how to handle these things.
And she also asked about the sustainable solutions, and how do you think about this?
I'm not an expert on seed system, but again, there are a lot of experiments going on. There are plants that are working on sludge, and that are working on plastic waste and waste management, basically. So I think there will be a proper solution very soon to be replicated in the camp. But we kind of we depend on the engineers more about these technicalities, and these things again, these are temporary things, and so in the development phase, more experts in the WASH sector, they work collectively. Whoever is working in site development, they try to use the solution for every structure and connect the every structure with the sanitation system and sewer system and everything. So that is handled by one sector.
The temporary condition, it's difficult to develop some strategies about this. Right?
Yes.
And Stephanie, there is another question.
The way you propose a horizontal relationship is
I think the last one, right, Marco? We don't have much time.
Okay. Yeah. So I was having this conversation with in the safe space for women and girls with this very elderly person, and he was saying he was giving us information or telling us his observations after the construction, and that really made us think that this is going well, because during the constructions, to be honest, in every project or in the previous project, it was not very much pre-planned. We developed it with phase by phase or after some projects. But we had these conversations, and this elderly person came up with his perception that this space, what this space can mean to their family member, and that he wanted this space to their family member to engage with us as well in this space. Not in another space, but because of the space quality, because of the courtyard that he liked, that made him think that, okay, this place will be a good thing, or for their family members, it will not be a threat. So at that point, we started thinking, okay, maybe this is creating a better impact, just not the space, but maybe they're thinking as well. So those were the conversations we started we started changing our perception about as an architect. Or at first, or when I studied in the university, I thought architecture is about the quality of a space or the quality of a building, but actually the architecture is about quality of life, quality of everything. Quality, it's about quality. So you can work with anything if you want to build a quality. It can be of philosophy, it can be of perceptions, about space, about environment, how you should maintain your community. So at that point, we started thinking we can offer in many other ways. Like right now we are working in the camp, but when we came back to Dhaka to visit Dhaka, we saw these rickshaw pullers, the auto rickshaw drivers, and they were not getting any mental health support, or they were not getting any benefits like the refugees are getting right now. So what we planned was, maybe when we get back to the Dhaka from this context, we'll try to offer these quality building sessions or these mental health sessions to our citizens who are suffering even in the lower income group community. So that's it. As an architect, I think we'll try to work in other aspects as well, rather than just building or constructing a structure.